All right, it's day 7, the final day of our Stowe Bag Sew Along series. Today we'll be discussing sewing our bottom gussets, and if you've read ahead in the instructions, you'll know there's an optional final step that permanently sets the bottom gusset into place. We found over the years that these are by far the 2 most confusing steps for people, so if you have any questions after the video, just please let me know. I'm happy to help. So with that, let's get sewing. To form the gusset, we're going to be folding the outside edges of the bag over and then stitching them at the bottom. So we are making the small bag, so we'll be measuring in 3 inches from the edge, which should fall right at your pocket stitching line. So fold that over and then measure. If you're making the large bag, you'll be folding it over 4 inches. I'm going to pin this in place. So now we're going to repeat for the other side. Again, 3 inches is about on that line, depending how accurate things were. Mine's a tiny bit off, so 3 inches. And pin that in place. Now, I've folded mine to this side. It does not matter which side you're going to fold it to. Fold it to this side, fold it to that side, doesn't matter. So now, as I mentioned, we're going to head over to the machine and we're going to just sew across the bottom of the bag to anchor these gussets in place. All right, so we're going to sew right along the stitching line here. And it should be a 1/2 inch if you didn't cut anything off serging. I did. I cut off 1/8 of an inch while serging. So mine is 3/8 of an inch. But again, you're just sewing across that bottom seam line. And I am going to back tack here because we want this to be nice and secure. Just continue working across the bag. And then here when we get to the edge of the folded area, I'm just going to back tack that again. Just a little bit of reinforcement. We're going to stitch across the bottom. And you can see I'm going slightly in front of, or sorry, slightly to the side of my original stitching line. You can stitch right over it. You can stitch to the side. I think my serging wasn't exactly straight. You can see now I've caught right back up with my stitching line. And just back tack at the edge. And again, this is a bag, so if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. So clip your threads. And there's our anchored gusset. All right, our gusset is anchored, and we're now going to turn the bag right side out. You are not going to clip any corners. None of that. And then what I like to do is just give it a tug here. This is the bottom gusset. A tug will just pull everything out and get it nice and neat. A little tug. And we have our bag. So now we're going to head over to the iron and we're going to give everything a press so it's a nice, neat little square. All right, the first thing I'm going to do here is press across the bottom. I'm going to just do that from both sides. I just like to get it real crisp. It's a lot of fabric here, so we want to make sure we really press it all. Now we're going to press up the side. So you're just going to align the bag so both sides meet and press. And I'm going to give the handle a little steam. Now we're going to do the other side again. Just align the side, and these edges of the handle will fall to the inside. There we go. All right, so if you are not doing optional step 15, you are done. This is your bag. You're ready to go use it. Now I'm going to talk about the optional step 15. One of my favorite things about the Stowe bag and Karen's intent while designing it was that it folds up super flat and neat for storage. So without the bottom gusset permanently sewn into place, you can see it folds into this nice little flat package, and it's really easy to store a few of them together. Now, if you do sew the bottom gusset, it's not going to fold up as nicely. You can see the edges. There's just no real great way to fold them. So if you don't mind that it doesn't fold into a little package like that, you can see it's kind of like a little bit of a mess. But you prefer having a permanent gusset, then this step is for you. So here's the bag standing with the permanent gusset. Here's the bag without a permanent gusset. I honestly can't tell the difference. I feel like this one does end up standing up better because it was able to be folded flat, whereas this one's very wrinkly after storage, and it's, again, kind of just whatever. It's a little messy. But this was requested by a lot of people to make the gusset permanent, so we have included that, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. All right, so to sew the bottom gusset, basically what you're going to do is insert your hand into the bag, and we're going to flatten that gusset. So we're flattening the bottom of the bag to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew right along this point, right along this seam line, to anchor the two together so we get a permanent gusset. So just stick a pin through all layers. And then repeat for the other side. Hand inside. All you do is you just flatten the bottom to the side. And then pin all those layers in place. So you can see we have created a gusset. So now we're going to head over to the machine and sew that in place. Okay, so I have removed my machine's table for this. It's going to be the easiest. We're going to place the side of the bag under your foot. Here's our gusset. You can see we pinned. Here's where it meets, the bottom and the side meet. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stitching through all layers right next to this seam. You're going to back tack. I'm using a basting stitch because I am going to take mine out, but you will be using a regular stitch. And you're just going to sew through all those layers. Make sure you're not catching any other part of the bag in there. Then when you get to the end of the point, you're going to back tack again, raise your foot, and then clip your threads. Then you're going to repeat that for the other side. Okay, so here you can see the permanent gusset on both sides of the bag. And it stands up. So that is the optional step 15. That's all there is to it. So you can see when it does lay down, it's not a very neat package, but sometimes you just want it to stand up. Okay, so that is it for the Stowe Sew Along. You all have a brand new bag. Personally, I know it's hard to make just one, especially since they're so easy and make great gifts. I love making one as gift wrapping and placing crafty supplies inside. It's a really cute and thoughtful gift. So thank you for joining us. And if you participated in our field bag sew along, you now have maybe 2 matching bags. I think they're a really cute set. I hope you're all feeling very proud and you had as much fun following along with the sew along as I had making it. If I've done my job, you picked up a new trick or two and ended up with a great bag in the process. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so that you get a notification as soon as we have our next sew along ready to roll. I'll see you all back here soon, and in the meantime, happy sewing!